Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is JP Warren, the founder of Connection Crew, Crue Club, and Exec Crew. All crews are very different, but kind of the same thing. Actually, I don't even know why I said that. It's Friday morning, it's 9 o'clock. Give me a little bit to kind of get my nerves right. I'm doing this live stream. I want to welcome everyone to the Crue Club Q2 topic series recap. It's been a crazy, exciting quarter. Q2 and Q3 once we kicked off the topic series events. And I think we're going to wait for a couple of people to tune in. If you are tuning in, please chime in and say where you're tuning in from. But first, I'm going to go check the LinkedIn to make sure we're going live there. Let's see. View as member. Let's see if we're live on LinkedIn. I don't know yet. Yes, we are. Okay. All right, everyone, welcome. I'm going to keep this short. I know it's Friday. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in everyone's world right now, but I'm excited to share kind of what discussions we've had around the Crue Club table. And we're going to kind of get into what Crue Club is, not only what Crue Club is, but the traveling back from the woodlands. What's going on, LinkedIn user? That's what it says up there. I apologize. Hello, whoever you are. Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you're tuning in, please say hello and chime in. Again, I want to keep this about 30 minutes. I know that's time's short. Again, I just want to kind of inform people what conversations go around in the oil and gas space right now around the table at Crue Club events. It's been a fantastic quarter, and I love kind of pulling into Q3 with 4 remaining topic series that are kind of getting to full capacity right now. So it's been a very exciting, fulfilling, and educational journey. So let's get this started without further ado. I'm not going to waste anyone's time here. Chris Martin, what's going on, Chris? Thanks for tuning in. So let's get this kicked off. So everyone's here to kind of learn a little bit more about Crue Club, potentially what kind of conversations we've been having around the table. What's going on, Vasily? He's just on the Oil and Gas Startups podcast by Digital Wildcatters. Check him out. He's got a new bit company, which is pretty cool. So let's get this started. Again, thanks for tuning in. So the conversations we've been having around the table, I'm going to take that off so I'm not distracted, have been very engaging. So Crue Club, I'm gonna give you a little background on Crue Club. Crue Club started in 2021, where the goal was to connect E&P operators in an environment free of solicitations. Transactional conversations are running the industry, and it seems that people's connections kept on kind of dissipating because every conversation was about cost. Every conversation was a transactional focused conversation. So Crue Club kind of started as kind of a safe space for people to get together and genuinely connect. We had about 1,000 E&P operators after 2 years. How many events? That's about 120 events. We had about 1,000 E&P operators. And that was phenomenal. That was great. But I was talking to my wife last December, and I said, hey, listen, if we're asking people to come to the table, be away from their families, be away from their personal obligations, let's make this valuable. And how do we make this valuable? By providing educational discussions, by inviting topic facilitators to come and discuss a topic that's heavy on their mind or a challenge that they're facing, or maybe just kind of some observations and insights they want to kind of pass around the table. So in January, we started our topic series events. And from January until May, we had 14 events, and we had over 120 different E&P operators at our events. And we took a break in the summer, and we got it kicked off back Q2 with Justin Pritchard Jones in Houston for a sold out, fascinating event that we're going to get into. And pretty much these topic series events have really evolved and leveled up our networking events. Previously, it was kind of let's just get around and connect on a genuine level and talk BS. Don't get me wrong, I love BSing, but at the same time, let's bring some value. So that's why we're bringing these topics to the table. You walk away knowing more, connected more, and you're a little bit more informed of what's happening. So it's great personal and professional development, but not only that, you also get some great connections that extend beyond the end of the event. So before we get into the juice, before we get into the details of what's going on, what we talked around the table, oh man, I gotta say what's up to Omar. What's going on, Omar? I love OKC. I can't wait to get back up there, buddy. So thanks for tuning in, Omar. But before we begin, I have some exciting news to share with you about some different projects I'm working on besides Crue Club. And then I'm going to tell you how you can get involved in Crue Club and start attending the event. So real quick, let's kind of get into some exciting news that I'm very excited to share. So okay, here we go. We are building something called Bridge Builders, a Futures Leader program. I've been working with a lot of universities, sponsored by Diamondback, AD, MidCon, IEDC, Texas Permian Panhandle, and then also Digital Wildcatters. We just had an event last night at U of H. I've been attending these universities and giving kind of a seminar on soft skills, kind of how to lead with soft skills, how to develop communication skills, how to network, and how to develop and deliver your elevator pitch. Not only that, some kind of industry insight. However, the one thing that we noticed and through conversations from students and just through different, people in our circles is that the connection between students, the future of our industry, and professionals in our current industry is not there. So this idea is to pair a mentor, a engineering background, E&P professional, or engineering background professional in oil and gas space with a student, a high performing, high achieving, ambitious student from a university. And it's literally, we're just asking for 1 hour every 2 weeks to check in, or 1 hour every month to check in, to mentor these students, to kind of give them advice. And so we're looking for mentors right now. And I'm reaching out to the schools, and we're gonna get some mentees. I don't even like, I think of a big, what is it, secret, the mantees. I think whenever I hear mentees, I think of mantees. But anyway, so we're going to be pairing students with professionals to kind of not only just expand their network, but also get a real glimpse of how this industry works and what you can expect entering this industry. It's just another way to highlight talent, highlight the future talent, and also offer some mentors, some leadership skills, and some mentorship opportunities. So again, we're looking for mentors. If you're an E&P professional out there, go to www.connectioncrew.com. Go to the Future Leaders tab and fill it out. And if you're a student watching this, hats off to you. It's Friday and you're watching this. We're looking for students as well. Go check it out. We're trying to launch this in 2025, January. And we're also looking for sponsors, corporate sponsors. It's a great way to connect with the next generation, get your name out there, and actually make an impact to the future of the industry. So I'm excited about that. That's inspired by, it's inspired by conversations. It's inspired by the Big Brothers Big Sisters gala we just went to a couple of weeks ago. And it's inspired by the students, and really what this industry needs is to connect this. We do a lot of university visits. I feel like we do a lot of shop tours and all that stuff, but where's the real connection? Where's the real mentorship? And this is just another opportunity for that. So I'm really excited about that. So check it out. Trey, great. I love how you're here, Trey. Appreciate you. Much needed conversations. And they really are. And it's interesting too, because the conversations we're having are all about soft skills and how they are effective in your career development, whether it's influencing team, talking to management, or just getting people around you to kind of gravitate towards a new approach. So communication skills are so important. And these students, I know it's common knowledge to look people in the eye, to nod, to have your body language proper. However, just because it's common knowledge does not mean it's common application. So these university visits have been just completely inspiring and beneficial. And I'm going to Colorado School of Mines next week on October 24th, sponsored by Diamondback Energy, to give another Launch with Confidence seminar. So anyway, check out connectioncrew.com if you are interested in this mentorship program. It's not a lot of time. All it is kind of getting the accountability buddy that's a student. The next exciting thing we have going on from the Launch with Confidence career workshop, the seminars we've been doing, we're going to be doing a full day workshop this summer. This is going to be a more robust practical exercise, connection, networking. This is going to be a great full day event for interns in the area. So right now we have Houston, OKC, and Midland, probably going to be going to Denver as well. So if you're interested in that, that's coming up summer 2025. It's going to be a great opportunity for students to not only just learn more skills, but also practice them and also network with other people their age, and also hopefully get some E&P professionals or industry professionals in the room where we can kind of do a roundtable kind of career conversation. So without further ado, I don't know if we have further ado. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. So welcome to Crue Club. This is where we're going to start our journey on what we've been talking about around the table. Crue Club is pretty much, it's a networking group. We host small, intimate networking events where majority of E&P operators, and I'll show you the statistics here, the next slide, but it's majority E&P operators. And the goal is to connect. Our industry is based off relationships. That's how efficiencies occur. That's how collaboration happens. That's what makes our industry so special. So the goal of Crue Club at the foundation is to establish genuine connections. It's really cool to hear that whenever connections do meet and they tag up, they walk into different networking events or different scenarios in the industry, they recognize people from Crue Club events, and there's already that connection there. So that's very inspiring to hear. But so start off with genuine connections. Now, what it is, it's not only genuine connections, but it's also industry conversations that are moving this industry forward, creating more understanding and more opportunities for people around the table, whether you're on the service side or whether you're an operator. You see connections between service and service side that flourish. You see connections between operators and service that turns out to be great collaboration. Also, operators and operators finding opportunities. And we're going to find out why that's so important in the next slide, couple slides. So here's the Q2 stats. We had 6 events: Houston, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, Midland, Denver, Austin, and Houston. And from those events, we had 59 operators and 47 E&P companies. So look at that. So if you look at the chart right there, I think that's a pretty cool visual on just the amount of operators we have at the table that come to our events that are dropping walls, and we're all just talking around the table about this industry, challenges, solutions, and collaboration. So it's a very beneficial event, whether you're at the table and chiming in, or whether you're at the table just listening, absorbing the knowledge that's being passed around the room. I know there's one specific event. I'm talking you, Dugan Hughes. The conversation was just phenomenal. And I was just, you talk about being the stupidest person at the table. That was definitely me, but it's just so rewarding being around just these smart, intelligent people having these great STEM conversations around the table. So anyway, crew members, those are our OFS tech. We're going to see who they are in the next couple of slides. They have access to our events, and that's done through a membership. However, we have good news. We're about to open it up so more people can get access that don't have to commit to the membership plan. All right, so Q3, Q4, hey, from that, we had 3 more events. We had an amazing conversation in Oklahoma City where Caleb Sharp, the BD manager at Continental Resources, led a great conversation on M&A, what trends he's seeing, what observations everyone's seeing around the table. Then we went to Midland when Chris Martin did a phenomenal leadership conversation about loss framing and how it impacts decisions of your team and people around you. He's one of the best people at the table whenever we have leadership conversations. Just the insight that he provides, the perspective, and the self-reflection, it's motivating to improve my leadership skills and everyone around. Then October 10th, we had Colby Klein lead a conversation about similar challenges between OFS and operators, and what are some solutions that we're seeing. Now we have 4 more remaining. 10 next week in Dallas, and then November 12th in Denver, which is I think it's at capacity. And then the following day, so we moved it from the 14th to the 13th just because we don't want to intrude on a Fin Fur Feather food festival, AAD F5. So that's going to be on the 13th. And we're going to kind of get into the subject and topic at the end of this conversation. And then wrapping it up, 11/19, we got Alicia Chalmers with ConocoPhillips in Midland talking about the importance of crucial conversation in your leadership journey. Now, let's get down. Oh, these are just, so can you imagine if you were a member here, if you're a service or tech company and you were a member of Crue Club, you can go out to all these conferences, be lost in a sea of noise around all your competition, really not getting the genuine connections from your target audience. So think about this. If you joined in 2020, if you joined January 2024, you would have attended 22 events and sat around the table with 205 operators from 116 companies. So our events probably about 3.5 to 4 hours each. So think about this. So 22 times, I'm doing quick math here. I'm not the engineer. It's not a CID 3 plus either. So that's almost 80 hours of uninterrupted conversations. No phones at the table, just good conversation going around the table. So think about that. If your objective is to sit at the table with other E&P operators, whether you're an E&P operator, whether you're a service company, then Crue Club is the place for you. And we have an exciting news how to get involved. In 2025, we're only offering 5 memberships that have access to all the events. We're doing 3 events a month. So it's going to be 9 events a quarter. So 5 memberships, flat rate across the board. But we're also going to be opening up. I talked to a lot of people that whether they can't commit to the memberships or whether they don't need the different locations that we host events at, they always ask, how can I come in and be a sponsorship for one event, a single event? So we're going to start opening that up to people and companies who want to come in and sponsor a single event at any location. That's coming 2025. And I cannot wait for that. Again, 5 memberships. Once they're gone, they are gone. And again, you want to see how effective it is? I don't know, if you try it out for a year, you're probably sitting with over 200 plus E&P operators having real good in-depth conversation that's really helping you understand what decisions are being made and why they're being made. All right, let's get started. I'm not going to get into these too much. I just kind of want to give an overall 30,000 foot view on what we discussed around the table. If you are interested in kind of diving a little bit deeper, we release a Behind the Drawworks a newsletter that covers these top 5 takeaways in more depth. So I'm gonna go over it's 9:15 already. I'm trying to wrap this up by 9:30 so everyone can go about their Friday and enjoy their day. So let's knock it off. So we kicked off this season to a sold out event with Justin Pritchard Jones, the production manager at Trinity Operating. Justin, one of the best guys out there, brightest guys out there, very kind and very just kind of very intelligent, but also just I just really dig him at the table. Every insight and perspective that he has that he kind of shares at the table, it's just really it's a great perspective. And I asked him, hey, what do you want to talk about around the roundtable as you kick off this new season? And he wanted to do an operations approach to finding potential value in your financials. Okay, Justin, that sounds great. What does that mean? He wanted to come in, and pretty much the subcontext is let's provide a financial look at P&L statements, balance sheets for operators with a non-financial background. So it was really great, kind of like an MBA level style discussion. And so I have some notes here I'm going to read off of, so don't think I'm not paying attention to you. So this conversation was a phenomenal one. It lasted for about 4 hours, and the whole table was just a very great conversation, diving into P&L, why it's important for field personnel to understand certain things that are in the contract to help them make better decisions. So again, it's not just understanding your P&L statement, it's understanding how to disperse information about your P&L statement or your balance sheet to field personnel, to people on your team, so decisions can be driven by that, not just your AFE. Again, great job. I want to thank Intelligent Wellhead Systems, ProFrac, WellDrive, W Energy, and LFS Chemistry for being at the table and sponsoring the event. So the first takeaway we had was understanding financials for business success. And that was pretty much the whole gist of that is, hey, listen, if you are an operator, if you are an engineer, don't just look at your AFE. There's a bigger picture. So sure, you have to, stay in the confines of your AFE, but there's a bigger picture to see. And to understand that picture, that's when you can start making more holistic decisions for your company to benefit your company. The second thing was efficiency and cost management. This is something that started here and throughout each conversation at Crue Club. You start to hear more about efficiencies and risk over low cost, which I thought that was very interesting because a lot of times on the service side, it's always cost, low cost, low cost, low cost. However, around the table, you're starting to kind of come to light that it's not low cost anymore. It's more about efficiency. So that was also discussed. Cost management is king. All right. It's not low cost anymore. I know people are going to chime in. It's like, that's not true. That is kind of true because that's being discussed around the table. So you want to know why? Join Crue Club and find out why people are saying that low cost is not the deciding factor anymore. Excuse me. I was talking a lot last night at U of H Cougar, so I am sipping some water. So, all right. Number 3, incentivizing innovation. This is a kind of a sticky subject right now. There's been a lot of conversation on LinkedIn and in the industry. Where's innovation coming from? With service companies not having the revenue previously had, the margins they previously had, how do we invest in new technologies? How do we invest in innovation, moving this industry forward? Historically, it was the service side that would spark these innovations. However, without the funds, it's very difficult to invest in new technology. That's going to be go to crueclub.com and fill in the information, and we'll get you some information on how to join Crue Club. So where does the innovation come from? So this is kind of an interesting subject that we've been discussing at several roundtable events. And it's one of those things where it's the innovation is now going to have to come from collaboration. No longer are service companies can spend money, develop on R&D, develop these solutions that they think the customer might want. Now it's probably time for the industry to start from square one. What can we work on together? What makes sense to drive this industry forward? All right. The fourth thing that we talked about is regulatory and environmental compliance. This is also a subject that is brought up repeatedly around the table. There's a lot of reporting, hurdles that are coming up. There's a lot of whether it's methane, whether it's adhering to environmental regulations. This is going to be a cost for companies. However, if it's managed properly, it could also be a profit center. So again, addressing the environmental compliance from a business mindset probably makes more sense than something that you just have to do. And again, this is going to be a lot more difficult for smaller companies that don't have the staff to follow the regulations. So there's probably some great sources of information on regulations, such as my buddy Ryan Walker up in DC. He runs a group called MAFA, and he stays on top of all the regulations. He works with service companies as well to kind of make sure people understand what's happening on the hill. On the hill, you like that? Yeah, on a federal level. All right. And the last thing, I love this, is collaboration and relationships. That is what is going to be moving our industry forward. And that's the whole point of Crue Club. It's not just transactional conversations or a quick sell. These are collaborations. These are collaborations that stick. So I have notes here: building strong, fair relationships with service providers and maintaining open communication is vital for long-term success, with an emphasis on collaboration rather than just focusing on costs. That is a breath of fresh air to hear, I'm sure, on the service side. Again, collaboration and relationships, not low cost in selling. All right. The second event we had was 2 days later in Fort Worth. George Whitman, the president of Black Mountain Oil and Gas, led a phenomenal roundtable discussion about the role of private equity and private operators in today's market. The sponsors of that table was Intelligent Wellhead Systems, ProFrac, W Energy, and LFS Chemistry. This was a very spicy, awesome roundtable conversation. We're in a new world right now. The capital is not flowing into this industry. It's very tight. Well, look at that. Well, we have Professor Justin Pritchard Jones tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Again, you did a phenomenal job. I love having you at the table, and I hope to see you on the 13th in Houston. So this was a great conversation. I love this subject right now just because it's the entrepreneurial in me, but also it's how this industry adapts and kind of plays in this new sandbox. And that's what I love about this industry. It's a bunch of smart people that eventually find ways, that roughneck their way through things. And it's very exciting to just see the new landscape. It might be exciting, might be depressing, whatever, but it's very interesting to hear the new landscape and hear what operators are dealing with or faced with when they're trying to go get their next deal. Over the past year, there's been a lot of consolidation. A lot of private operators did sell. So now there's a lot of bright, sharp teams that know what they're doing, that are on the market. So how do they separate themselves? How do they find the deals? That's through relationships and networking. So again, all right, let's dive into the top 5 key takeaways from around this table. Number 1, rising costs and profitability challenges. Let me switch this. Yep. All right. So declining margins, rising costs. Well, that's whether that's inflation, whether that's labor, whether it's technology, meeting investment hurdle rates. And apparently the hurdle rates are very different in this environment than they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. So operators now have higher hurdles to hit. So it's, again, this being in the market of private equity right now seems very sticky with a lot of operators just because the challenges and the hurdles are so high. But again, it's so now where do we get capital? Where do we get it from? So do we family offices? Do we band together? There are going to be new approaches, new collaborative approaches moving forward, which is exciting. So private equity's high return on private equity and financial dynamics. Private equity's high return expectations and reluctance to accept longer term, lower risk investments. So again, that's the mindset of a lot of these financial institutions. They want to see their money returned back, high rates very quickly. That is not the way this industry is operating anymore. This industry, I was at a Pickering Energy Partners Energy Conference in September. I think it was September. And it was a very interesting conversation that, no longer are we in growth mode in this industry. Now companies it's more of a harvest mode. So what does that mean? That means that when it comes to rig count, where's rig count going to go? It's probably going to stay the same. Where's, the frac crew is going to go? It's probably going to stay the same. Unless commodity prices get triple digit or something like that, chances are rig count probably won't be skyrocketing or fluctuating that much, which is, again, that's also nerve-wracking. But again, it's not even, again, I guess one way to look at that is you better start getting those relationships and understanding what's going on with operators, because right now it's going to be strategy over just throwing mud against the wall, seeing what sticks. Number 3, technological advancements versus increasing expenses. This ties into what we talked about in Houston. Labor efficiency and productivity gains offset by heightened labor costs and underlined by the industry's financial strain. That is true. This industry is a punching bag right now when it comes to labor, when it comes to new technology, when it comes to capital flowing inside the market. So how do we increase the innovation with reduced capital coming in? That's a challenge that we're all going to have to kind of circle the wagons and get around and understand kind of what we're looking for. What solutions are we looking for versus just guessing? Number 4, industry coordination and investment strategies. This is what I like, the necessity for small operators to band together to remain competitive and spread out costs, similar to mutual funds. I love this idea. So I was in a couple discussions before this, and talking to a couple, people that I know in the private operator side, really kind of looking for deals. And I was asking, what's different about now versus then? It just seems like a new playbook is out now. And the fact that it's actually not even a new playbook. We're writing a new playbook right now. Operators are going to have to start getting more creative when it comes to deals. Whether it's finding acreage, whether it's farm out opportunities, whether it's operating opportunities with each other. So it might look at companies approaching the table. It might look a little bit different moving forward than it did historically in the past. So you might see some private operators working together. I don't know. The 5th one, market consolidation and business flexibility. The impact of oil price volatility and ESG concerns on business decisions and capital deployment. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on around that table. Again, if you want to check it out, go to Behind the Drawworks newsletter, and you can see here the kind of breakout of operators and then service companies, which is legit. Next one, we headed to Midland with Ray Ann Dodge, a supply chain specialist at ConocoPhillips, led a fantastic leadership conversation. I'm really digging the fact that, our Crue Club roundtable discussions, they can range from technology to private equity to AI in the oil field, but also there's a lot of leadership conversations. This is so important to our industry right now because there is a lot of consolidation. A lot of people wearing new hats. A lot of people are taking leadership roles that they never stepped in a leadership role before. A lot of leaders are kind of being moved to roles that they don't have any managerial responsibilities. So these leadership conversations are so important, so crucial, not just for seasoned, experienced E&P energy professionals, but also for the younger generation as well. So the topic was individual leadership and the value of experience. How important is experience when it comes to leadership? And again, these conversations about leadership are so it's just a great kind of like a master class in leadership development. So the first, and I want to thank Intelligent Wellhead Systems, R360 Environmental Services, Complete Solids Control, W Energy, and LFS Chemistry for being sponsors at this event. As you can see, there's a common theme of a couple companies. Those are our members. So again, the first thing is crucial conversations. You have to have them as a manager. No one likes having them, however, because they're uncomfortable. However, the necessity to have them is more prevalent now than ever. And it's not just having the conversations, it's when you have them. A lot of times when you see a behavior that needs addressing, you wait a long time before you talk to that person, or you just kind of hope it goes away because we're uncomfortable having these crucial conversations. However, the sooner you see a behavior that needs addressing, the sooner you address it, the better it's going to be for you, the team, and also it's a growth opportunity versus you building your case against that individual. So have your crucial conversations as a leader. All right. And if you're interested about learning how to do that, head over to execcrew.com, where I provide a lot of soft skills training. And I actually covered this in a newsletter at execcrew.com. So the second thing we talk about is effective communication. This is what I talk about to all the students. We are in a world of correspondence, not communication. We're strong at texting. We're strong at emails. We're strong at sending messages, which is words are only 7% of how we communicate. But that's where our communication skills have lacked. So effective communication, 55% is body language, 38% is your pitch and tone. So how do you connect with your team? How do you connect with the people working for you? And how do you connect your management? That's not through correspondence. That's through communication. So that's usually done. We talked about face-to-face communication and conversations outweighs video or emails. And that's true. And that's why we have these Crue Club events in person. That's why I'm always on the road in person, because that's where the magic happens in conversation, connection. Communication is all about connection, and that's not going to be done behind the computer. All right. The third thing we talked about is leadership styles, and they're changing. I remember when I broke out in this industry in 2005, you get paid from the neck down. You're a hand. It was do as I say, blah, blah, blah. It was very, I'm not gonna say iron fist, but it was a very different management style. Management has changed. Management is evolving. Leadership styles is evolving. It's going to continue to evolve, which is so important. Why you should be staying on top of leadership discussions, listening to podcasts, reading books about leadership and its evolution, because what works now didn't work in the past, but what works in the future is not what's going to work now. Go with me on that logic. So anyway, leadership styles have moved from they've transitioned from authoritative to empathetic and servant leaderships to better meet individual team members' needs and foster trust. So when it was authority, do as I say and all this stuff. Now, when something happens and let's say there's behavior that needs addressing, it's not, why did you do this wrong? It's, what did I do that failed you in you achieving this goal? Or what did I not provide you as a leader? So this leadership style is a lot more self-reflective. You're looking more at yourself than you are looking at the team around you. All right. The fourth thing is employee empowerment. This was big. We talked about this last night at U of H. Pretty much if you get a project or an assignment or a challenge to solve as an individual, as a contributor, try to solve that. Don't get to a stuck point, then go to your manager and say, hey, listen, can you give me the answer? Try to figure that stuff out yourself before you actually pass it up to management to figure it out. So again, take some risks, take some bets on yourself as an employee, and also empower your employees to make decisions, and then also empower your employees to make mistakes so they can grow from that. All right. And the fifth thing is generational learning. There's different generations in this oil field, no cap. All right. So you got to embrace diverse perspectives from different generations to spur innovation and avoid groupthink. And I think this is important. Previously, I would say the older generation had a lot more to teach the younger generation or people entering an industry. I'm not saying that's not really true anymore, but there's also a cool balance because the younger generation and the advancements and speed of technology, the older generation can learn from the younger generation. So again, respect other people's approaches, insights, and perspectives, because they might not be yours, but that doesn't mean it might not be more efficient. So again, generational learning. So again, thank you everyone who attended that, and Ray and Dodd did such a great job. Denver, we had good English. We went to Denver on September 11th, where Dugan Hughes, the senior reservoir engineer at Aventiv, led just a phenomenal, it was just a great conversation. Let me get into why it was such a great conversation. His topic was leveraging emergent technologies to increase profitability. And this was a fascinating conversation. Dugan did such a good job. And for those that don't know out there, he is just, he's one of the brightest people out there that I know. But also this conversation was fascinating. I was sitting there at the conversation. He's doing a good job, facilitating, asking around. And I'm sitting back, and it's probably about 8:30 now. The meal's kind of done. And we're just sitting there for another 45 minutes in the entire conversation. I really wish we could have filmed it or something. We did record it, but that's where you find the Behind the Drawworks newsletter. But it was just so interesting to be a part of an industry. And, you're sitting around the table and you're sitting there talking for about 3.5, 4 hours. And it's all like STEM related conversations, whether it's about pressure, fracture gradients, chemistry, percentage increase in efficiency. It was a very fascinating conversation. Just be part of that table and just to sit there. And if I could absorb 5% of that knowledge, I would walk away a much brighter person. But it was an unbelievable in-depth conversation. And I was just blown. It was one of those things. It was very surreal. Just being part of this industry. It's such a cool industry. All right. So the first thing I want to thank Intelligent Wellhead Systems, W Energy, and Quorum Software for being there. Those were our sponsors. As you can see here, the operators OFS side. So the first thing is, let me get there. The first thing is, and again, I'm just going to read the notes on this just because this stuff was very over my head, but I really, really did enjoy being part of the table. The first thing is the impact of emergent technologies on profitability. All right. So it was emphasized the importance of leveraging new technologies such as AI and machine learning and data analytics, whatever, to enhance operational efficiencies and profitability in the oil and gas sector. So what technology can we use to increase profitability? And that probably means what technology can we use to increase efficiencies? That's kind of where the focal point is at, efficiencies right now. And the second thing we talked about, data, baby. highlighting challenges in data management and critical role, high quality data. That was a big thing around the table. There's a lot of data out there, but people want clean, good data. So how do you ensure your data is clean and good? I don't know. But anyway, that's what people are looking for. All right. Excuse me. Hold on. There we go. It's brought to you by Connection Crew. All right. Number 3, the evolution of economic models. Shift in investment focus towards achieving quick returns of 20% IRR within 2 years, driven by private equity capital markets. That's changed. We just talked about that when we were in Fort Worth. Private equity's expectations are not aligning with the realities of the oil and gas market currently. So that's kind of a challenge that that a lot of companies are facing. Public, private, a lot of companies. The 4th thing is advancement in drilling and fracturing technologies. We discussed recent innovations in horizontal drilling, hydraulic fracturing, and the use of fiber optics and tracers to improve well performance, but noting skepticism about significant breakthroughs in understanding far field fracture impact. This is a great subject I want to dive into if I knew anything about it. But anyway, it was a great roundtable point that although there are advancements out there, although there is innovation out there, it still needs to be proven. It still needs to be brought to the table on why we need to implement this technology, invest in this technology. It could be new technology. And especially it's difficult now to take those risks in new technology just because capital is so tight. Whether it's unexpected expenses or whether it could potentially be high risk for your well's performance, that is kind of something that every operator needs to weigh right now. So again, new technology is exciting, although some of it could be risky. So what's the decision point? What's making these decisions? Number 5, regulatory compliance and emission investments. Again, you see kind of every single conversation we have around the table, around Crue Club table, it's kind of a cool thing because it just builds on top of previous conversations. So whether we're talking about emissions and methane, it's just building, whether we talked about that in Houston and then potentially in Fort Worth and then now in Denver. So you see how the conversation just keeps on building to kind of give you a big holistic view of this industry. All right. Let me just read my notes. Emphasis on the balance between regulatory compliance and profitability, with companies investing in emissions technology to stay ahead of regulations while maintaining market expectations. All right. So great job, Dugan. I highly recommend people connect with him. Really, really bright guy. All right. Next, we had a discussion about, I led the discussion. Cole Thompson was supposed to be there. Cole, I'm looking at you. But something came up. I'm joking. Cole's one of my best buds out there. Anyway, the topic this was in Austin on September 18th. We had TFS, LFS, and ProFrac at the table around this conversation. Pardon me. Need to make sure. All right. Sorry about that. Personal stuff. All right. So opportunities in collaboration in the oil and gas industry. So as you can see here, the makeup of OFS and operations, again, operator heavy, operator focused. This was another great conversation that I feel like we went on several tangents, but then again, I was perfectly okay with that because the subjects we got into, I thought it was just a great natural roundtable discussion that wasn't focused on collaboration. But I'm fine with that. As long as the conversation's good, let's do it. So the first one was company integration challenges. All right, so there's a lot of consolidation going on. There's a lot of mergers happening right now. How effective, not just on the operator side, but also on the service side, how are companies blending these cultures? Where are they reducing the synergies and efficiencies? And how are they adapting different technologies across the new company that's formed? Acquisitions often struggle with operational inefficiencies due to lack of standard operating procedures and increased workload without additional headcount. So how do you combat and deal and manage these challenges? So that's something that operators are talking about. That's something that we're talking about, just experiencing. It's a challenge across the table on all sides. Number 2, AI and remote operations. This is the increased use of AI and remote operations for efficiency in oil drilling and management, with major companies like ExxonMobil leading the trend. So you see a lot of companies now that are heavily investing into AI for their, whether it's procedures, whether it's to monitor risk, maybe it's preventive maintenance. So there's a lot of AI out there in the field, whether it's AI, machine learning. These are hot buzzwords, but the reality of making decisions off of the output of AI is you're definitely seeing that increasing. My question is this: when does it come to the point as an operator or as a service company where it's, hey, you made your decision, it was wrong. Did you not base your decision off the AI model? So when we get that point where it's when decisions are going to have to be made for job security based on an AI model? So anyway, I'm throwing that out there. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there's my thoughts on this. All right. Number 3, theft and inefficiencies. This is the first time this was kind of brought up, that the issues like oil theft by organized crime and inefficiencies with sand truck drivers were discussed, with mentions of using technology to counteract these problems. This is something that I hear a lot about in West Texas recently, about a lot of cartel activity out there, stealing oil or doing all this shady stuff out there. If not only are we dealing with private equity, not only are we dealing with environmental challenges and public perception, now we got to deal with the cartels. So, hey, if the oil field can survive, you'll survive. All right. Again, that's a problem. I don't even know how we do that. What technology do we deploy? What training? What risk factors do we provide our employees when dealing in these situations? Before they get to location, just in case a situation like this arises. That's kind of scary stuff, but anyway, it's real stuff. All right. Number 4, the shift in industry dynamics. Again, the industry is seeing a transition from rapid growth. We just talked about this, driven by private equity, to more sustainable cash flow focused model, emphasizing efficiency and consolidation. So again, we already talked about that. We talked about that in Fort Worth. Now we're talking about this again in Austin. You're seeing a shift in the mindset of operators, of private operators, that, hey, this isn't, we're going to punch a couple of holes in the ground and flip this thing. This is our asset. Let's operate this asset in perpetuity. So that's kind of a shift of the private operators in this market. However, is private equity, do they have the same mindset? Number 5, collaborative and technological challenges. There's an emphasis on the need for improved collaboration. Yes. And open conversations about operational challenges, despite high cost and proprietary technologies impeding easier partnerships. So again, this is the beautiful part about Crue Club. This is where collaboration happens. This is where a problem is thrown out there and a collaborative solution is developed behind the scenes from square one. It's not guesswork anymore. Now, service company and tech companies can identify what the challenges are by having these collaborative conversations that aren't transactional, that are really trying to push the industry forward to make a more efficient and innovative industry. So again, the collaboration between service companies and operators needs to happen. And in order for that to happen, you have to have the relationship. You have to have the trust. You have to have the connections and the conversations. And that's what, again, I'll plug it again. That's what you get at Crue Club. All right, this is the final one we had for Q2, and we're going to get into what the remaining ones, and also real briefly, and also what's to expect upcoming, the topics that are upcoming. So let me click it. All right, this one, Colby Klein, Houston, on September 24th. Colby Klein, the production manager of Lime Rock Resources, led a fantastic discussion around the table about operators and OFS, parallel challenges and collaborative solutions. I love it. Kind of stemming off what we just talked about in Austin. All right, so the first one was operational and technical challenges. We discussed on-site welding, significant cost of transportation, and technical issues with coiled tubing and dissolvable materials during well operations. That's very operation focused. Usually these operation focused things. Listen, I can BS enough when it comes to operations, but when it comes to like these technical specifics, I can't. But anyway, it was a fascinating conversation to be a part of. Training and mentorship. So training and mentorship. This is part of leadership development. Colby mentioned a great book, Extreme Ownership, that the military, the Navy SEALs, they use this technique for communication improvement and new team members coming in. And what that is, it's based off of 2 things: relationships and communication. You have to have relationships in the field, and you have to communicate effectively. Not only that, they have to have the faith and confidence they can communicate with you clearly and candidly. So basing around the extreme ownership, operators and service companies need to start instilling relationships and communications as the main drivers whenever they are transacting with it's either their team or even operators. The third thing is market dynamics and cost. Emphasizing market cycles, cost cutting versus quality, and issues like rising HCl prices, noted a trend towards more stable vendor relationships and efficient operations. Okay, so this was kind of interesting around the table. We're talking about how operators make their selection when it comes to vendors and all that stuff, and I brought up, I'm like, so wait a minute, so you're telling me that low cost isn't really driving the decisions anymore? And it was brought up, no, actually, low cost isn't the main driver anymore. It was 2 years ago, not anymore. But what's driving the decisions on a lot of operators is two things: risk and efficiencies. And so again, if it's not, they're not going on low cost. I think low cost to me, I've always said this, low cost to me is just a hurdle. It's a way for people to say no and close the door and not take a meeting. However, right now, just like you get when you get cheap shoes or a cheap clothing, it's you get what you pay for. So now operators are understanding that. So now what it is more efficiencies, more relationships, more collaborations between the two companies. So I love hearing that. That just shows me that there's partnerships being developed and partnerships being formed, and it's a lot more long-term visions than just kind of like survival of this low cost. Let's get low cost. The fourth thing is innovation technology. Hey, we're talking about that again. Focused on rapid innovation in methods like U-turn wells and AI for data processing, while noting hesitation in adopting new tech due to early failures. Man, what a catch-22. So we want technology, but we're hesitant to deploy it just because of the risk, because we don't have the room for risk right now. It's very difficult. Capital is tight. It's very tough. The people that have risk are probably the public traded companies that can take a risk. Private companies, not so much. So how do we find that balance between new technology and actually new technology and actually utilizing the new technology? It's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be done through partnerships. I think that's going to be done with operators and service companies working together from the start. Number 5, workforce and relationships. Highlighted hiring challenges. True. That's why I'm dealing with this mentorship program. The importance of experienced personnel. That is extremely important. Experienced personnel is getting a lot more challenging. Just ask anyone trying to find someone in West Texas. Just ask anyone trying to find a pumper in West Texas. It's a lot more challenging to find personnel. All right. And the need for strong relationships and communication for operational efficiencies. It's all about relationships. Listen, you can try to get away from relationships. You can try to get away and not say relationships are the driving force of our industry, of collaboration, of new technology, of new opportunities. But at the end of the day, it's all about the relationships we have and the networks we have. And that's what I tell the students. That's what I'm telling y'all out there. So again, work on your networks, continue to build them, and avoid transactional conversations just because no one likes getting sold to. All right, so you can find all this stuff on Behind the Drawworks newsletter. Go to Crue Club on LinkedIn, CRUE on LinkedIn. Yeah, you can see it right there. And you can kind of dive deeper into what we discussed around the table. Since then, in Oklahoma City, we had a recent upstream M&A trends and observations where Caleb Sharp, the BD manager of Continental Resources, led. That was a great discussion about kind of this new environment we're in and what we're seeing and kind of what is it, the runway that some companies have when it comes to, I guess, their inventory. Then Midland, Chris Martin, the HSC manager at Deep Blue, led a fantastic discussion on prospect theory and framing effect and the impact they have on decision making. And then last week in Houston, Zach Keller with Marathon Oil led a phenomenal discussion about gas grids and gigafactories, outlooks and hurdles of meeting future power demand. That was all about power, electricity, ERCOT, investments in infrastructure. How has energy demand increased? Hence, it hasn't through efficiencies. What's going to be needed for the data centers? It was a great conversation on really kind of where we stand today and the challenges we're going to be faced with. The challenge we're faced with now, but the challenge is going to be impacting consumers tomorrow. So again, great conversation. Zach did a phenomenal job. Chris did a phenomenal job. Caleb did a phenomenal job. Everyone at the table chiming in. One person said that our events it makes them feel like it's an NBA style discussion. I love it. It's like mini conferences around the table. And wrapping up for the remainder of this season, we have next week In Dallas, we have From Here to There, Shaping the Future with Strategy, Focus on Capital, Technology, and Consolidation. That's me. I'll be leading that. We have a couple spaces available. So if you're an E&P operator in the Dallas area looking to get connected and be part of one of these conversations, reach out to me and I'll get you information on how to register. And then in Denver, we have already, I think it's already at capacity. We have my good friend Jason Churchill, the CEO of Petro Legacy. He's flying into Denver for this. He's coming to Denver just to facilitate this. I don't think it's just for the Crue Club. I'm going to pretend like it is right now to facilitate this conversation. This is a leadership. I guarantee we're going to get into some more operational stuff or the state of the industry. But right now, again, these leadership conversations are so crucial and vital to personal and professional growth. He's going to be talking about unlocking efficiencies, the power of delegation for team performance and career growth. And then Houston, it's not November 14th, because that's when Finfer Food Festival is, AADE. We moved that to the 13th, where we have Lauren talking about leveraging your strengths, making an impact beyond the office walls. How can we as professionals, as individuals, do more and actually impact communities around us? She's very involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters, a fantastic organization, an inspiration on kind of the Building Bridges leadership program that Connection Crew is launching. So I'm excited for that one. And then we're wrapping up the topic series in Midland on November 19th, where we have Alicia Chalmers, the asset manager with ConocoPhillips, talking about navigating tough talks, the importance of difficult conversations. So again, another leadership conversation. I'm looking forward to this. I'm diving into this. If you're an E&P operator in any of these areas that and you'd like to attend, reach out to me or go to crueclub.com and make sure you register so we can get you on the list to send you how to get involved. And if you are a OFS tech company that you do want to get involved, we have one event spot sponsorship for Houston and one left for Midland. So reach out to me if you want to secure that. And again, I'm excited. Wait, what else we have here? 17. Thank you. Here's how you can connect with me. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm excited about. Coming up in 2025, we're going to, again, 5 members. Where is it? 5 members, and we're going to open up the room to allow service companies or tech companies or other companies that want to come in and experience what a Crue Club event's like. I want to thank everyone, and I'm just going to show these stats again because that's just a cool number, right? Look at that. Look how many operators are there. So anyway, I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in this morning. Let's see. Any talks about operators weighing risk factor versus trying new technology products for breakthroughs with service providers? Man, that's what we talked about at in Houston. It's one of those things where there was no clear answer. However, that it's noted and needed that there is going to have to be some risk associated with trying new technologies. However, when it comes to private operators, I'm not sure what avenues or what type of operations that they're willing to try new technology with. I think that's still kind of an unanswered question. But anyway, it's an exciting question. That's a good question too. So I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. We hope you have a great Friday, great weekend. And again, it's an exciting time right now. It might be a difficult time, might be a frustrating time, but it's all about the attitudes we have, and that's contagious. So try to keep a good attitude, try to keep a positive outlook. That's what I tell the students. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you're interested about Crue Club joining one of the tables, head to crueclub.com. If you're interested about the mentorship program and being paired with a student, I'm gathering students' information now. This is kicking off January 25th and really having an impact on someone's life. Head to connectioncrew.com. And the last thing is, if you have interns or you do want to get involved and be a corporate sponsor of our intern full day camp, really impact these students, get your name out there, make it a great event, reach out to me. Thank you all, and we'll see y'all next time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.